important gospel. As you heard today in the reading, it's about the rich man and poor Lazarus. When we read this gospel, sometimes we pay attention to different things that don't really matter. The fact that this man was very rich, or that Lazarus was called stochos, which means non-existent. In our modern life, we also pay attention to unimportant things, such as achievements, such as wealth, the size of a house, the newest model of car or phone that we can carry or drive, competition among ourselves, sending our children this school to that school, this one is better than the other, and those are the things sometimes that determine our importance and our value in life. It's not about achievements, it's about relationships. At the end, nothing we're going to carry with us in a casket. At the end, when the hearse is going out of the church parking lot, there is not going to be any U-Haul following it. We're not going to carry with us not the gold, nor the silver, nothing that we have earned in this life, even our education or our wealth in general and achievements in this life. What we carry with us, however, is our relationships. Somebody once told me, imagine if it was your father's funeral, and people came and said, your father was a very successful man. In his life as a businessman, he made $5 billion worth transactions. Versus someone comes to you and says, your father was an amazing man. He was a generous man. He shared over $2 million in his life from his gain in this world. Which one would you like to be? The person about whose father they say that was a very successful man, or the person whose father was a generous man, who shared his life and everything he had with his brothers and sisters? So in the minds of the people, it is our generosity that stays. Success is a temporary thing. My grandfather used to tell me this story, and he always warned me. He said, be careful with your friends. He was telling me a story of a rich man who was very wealthy at once, and everybody loved him and respected him. Life happened, and he lost everything he had. And all his friends turned away from him because they had other rich people they could go and please. The man was left alone, like today's gospel tells us that this rich man was in Hades alone by himself. He suffered quite a bit, and then he somehow turned his life around again, and he became rich again. Guess what? Who shows up at his door? All his old friends, welcoming him to a party. He goes to the party and he sits there and he doesn't touch any food. The friends tell him, eat, eat. After a while he lifts the silk garment that he was wearing and says, garments, eat some food. Eat some food. They question him, you probably do too, why is he doing that gesture? And he says, because I don't matter to you as a person. What you care is my achievements and my wealth. And the representation of that is the silk garments that I have on my shoulders. Therefore, you are honoring my garments, not me. In today's gospel, that's exactly what happens when the rich man is partying and poor Lazarus is laying at his door. Poor Lazarus in Greek is called stochos, which means that he doesn't exist in the eyes of people. However, he is precious in the eyes of God. And that is why he ends up in the bosom of Abraham, regardless of his poverty and meaningless life, as we could call it, by our standards. We see many relationships in this story. Relationship, or rather the absence of the relationship between the rich man and Lazarus. We see a relationship between Abraham and poor Lazarus. We see assume the relationship between this rich man and his brothers. Because he says to Abraham, I love my brothers. Send this man to tell them what's right and what's wrong. We see a very beautiful relationship between Lazarus and the dogs. The dogs were licking his wounds. They were being cured to his suffering. They were merciful to Lazarus. And that's what we call God, a merciful God. And that's what our relationship with Christ is. His mercy and our love for Him meet. And we have a beautiful relationship with Him. It doesn't matter what kind of ascetic achievements we have, what kind of prayers we pray. If we have no relationship with Christ, everything is meaningless. If we do not love Him and ask for His mercy for the wounds that are created in our soul by the sins of our life, then our life is meaningless. Doesn't matter how many millions we have in the bank account, if we have no relationship with those about whom Christ said, if you do to them, you do it to me, it is worthless. Our life is worthless. We will be that person in a casket about whom they say your father or your mother was a successful person, but no one will say that we were a generous person. Generosity in this story is the central message of the gospel reading, where rather it is the absence of generosity. But in the relationship between the poor man, poor Lazarus, and Abraham, we also see the kind of generosity that God requires from us. The gospel says that poor Lazarus was in the bosom of Abraham. That is a powerful statement. When we talk about our very dear friends, we say we are bosom friends. When we give a hug to our child, we lift them up and we hug them and we put them in our bosom. That's the most intimate kind of relationship, the closest relationship, closest to our soul. And that's the kind of relationship that Abraham gave to poor Lazarus. And that's prefiguring the relationship between Christ and the poor. And that's why he said, if you did it to the poor, you did it to me. If you gave a hug to a poor person, you gave it to Christ. Anthony Bloom, my favorite theologian, tells this story, and I've told to the congregation here if they remember, but for our musicians here, I will tell it again. He was a little boy going from home to school. And on the way, there was a poor beggar that was sitting on the side of the road every single day. And they would pass by him every day. One day, their teacher was going in front of them, and as he reaches the poor man who was begging, he takes his head out, and he bows to the man, and then the man jumps up, gives him a hug, and then sits back on the ground. The man continues to go to school, the teacher. Anthony says, we were curious kids. We found the teacher and said, what happened? Why did that poor man, that beggar, that dirty man give you a hug? And he said, well, here's what happened. Today when I woke up, this is during World War II. I checked my pockets, I take a train. So I walked from my home to the school. Then I had the second surprise. This man was sitting there begging for money. I checked my pockets, I had no money. So I approached him and I said, my brother, my friend, you and I are in the same place. You have no money and I have no money. I am sorry that I cannot give you anything. And then the boy said, why did he give you a hug? Well, he says, he stood up and he told me that no one else in his entire life has given him more than I gave him. And what is that? They said, what did you give him? And the teacher says, I gave him his dignity. I recognized him as my brother. I put myself next to him. I lowered myself to his level and I embraced him where he was, in his poverty, in his utter need. And we were brothers, in this case, in Christ. That's what Christ wants from us. He wants relationships. He wants loving relationships. He wants caring relationships. He wants generosity. He wants sharing of our life. That's why in our liturgy, over and over again, we keep saying, let us commit ourselves to one another and to everything that we have. To our Lord, our Christ, our God. All entire our life, the liturgical prayer says. So today, poor Lazarus comes to remind us that it is the love that matters. It is the relationship that matters. Achievements disappear when we lay in the casket. When we head towards the grave, nothing is left. As the prayer service says, I went into the tombs and I didn't know who was the soldier and who was the king. I did not know who was a commoner and who was a prince. Everything becomes dust and ashes. And only our relationships remain in our hearts. That's why at the end of the funeral service, end of the memorial service that we commemorate today also, we say memory eternal, because it is the relationships that stay in our hearts forever. We never forget our friends and our relationships with them. Their achievements disappear. Thank you. God bless you.